Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 163 of Lonely Gods. I'm your host, David, and I'm joined here, as always, by Kate.
I have heartburn.
Sleepy Kate.
Sleepy Kate.
And we have two audios and a TV story to talk about this week. But before we get into that, Kate, do we have any Doctor Who news?
Fuck no. No. I ordered the anniversary special and Matt Smith's regeneration story, but they're not here yet. So that's the most exciting thing that's happened.
So that's what you're waiting on, is to watch those now?
Yep.
Nice. I saw that this year the Christmas special's in theaters again.
Yeah, they've been doing that a lot lately.
Yeah, I don't. But we went to the movies this morning, and Faith pointed that out to me, and I was like, oh. And I just looked at her and I said, but we're like a whole season behind.
Yeah. Apparently they're coming out. Oh, this is, I guess, news. Apparently they're coming out with a complete Capaldi Blu-ray set. And from what I've heard, retail price is going to be about $150, which isn't actually that bad. It's probably.
If I buy it through UK Amazon, is it cheaper then?
I don't know. I haven't looked into it. I mean, it's still not really like officially confirmed as one of those things people found on Amazon as a listing, you know? So
It's weird though, because it is totally cheaper to a lot of times to buy just from UK Amazon.
well, especially for UK shows, yeah. I mean,
Yeah, that's what I mean for like Doctor Who and shit. I was looking at another BBC show and I was like, oh, it's like half the price if I just buy them from UK Amazon and wait 2 weeks.
yeah. So I mean, anyway, yeah. So like I said, suggested retail price is about $150, which is going to be probably cheaper than getting each season on Blu-ray by itself.
Probably. Those Blu-rays aren't cheap.
No. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, at least on Canadian Amazon, it's like they keep going up. Where it's like season 8 is 55, and then season 9 is like 80 right now. So.
Oh, Jesus Christ, $80?
Yeah. So by the time I get to Capaldi, if it's doable, we might just go for that set. You know, if it's a thing that actually exists.
Sounds nice.
Hopefully. I'm still gonna turn my nose up at Lady Doctor episodes, so it'll be as far as I go, I think.
That's not true, and you know it.
It's true until the podcast makes me not true.
Whatever, man.
Yeah.
It's going to come out, and everyone's going to say how amazing it is just to spite you, even the people that you trust.
Of course they're gonna say it's amazing. They're liars.
So let's go ahead and get into it for this week, then. First up, we have our second Doctor, Ben, Polly, and Jamie early adventure, The Morton Legacy. What did you think of this story, Kate?
I liked it.
You did?
I did.
I thought it was okay.
I think it's more than that.
It didn't make much of an impact on me. It kind of just came and went.
Okay, well.
So the TARDIS shows up in what period? Are we in Dickensian England?
Well, Victorian, yes.
Victorian. Okay, yes.
It's always Victorian.
That's true. It is always Victorian London.
They never show up in like the Regency period or it's always fucking Victorian London.
Middle Ages sometimes.
Yeah, that's true.
But those are the two options. That and modern. If those are the three. We don't do anything else.
No.
That would be interesting, Kate.
Hey.
No, I'm kidding. So the TARDIS shows up, and Ben and Polly were hoping to have been taken back to the 60s. But of course, they were taken back to the 60s, but not the 60s they wanted.
1860s.
Yes.
Yeah.
And really, this whole story is about the TARDIS gets taken into a museum collection, and it's about the Doctor and the crew trying to get it back.
Yeah, more or less. I mean, the collection's owned by Morton. He has inherited this collection from like his deceased somebody. But there's also like another possible heir, and so there's been this protracted legal case that's gone on for like 10 years, where you can't open the museum, and it's all very awful. And so, but there's this weird necklace in the collection that seems to be unearthly, and as research later turns out, may have some like special powers because they got it from a guy who was in the Amazon speaking with primitives. And if there's one thing primitives are, it's magic. And so all of the people that involved in the legal case that are basically preventing the museum from being profitable start dying, and it's terribly mysterious. Also, meanwhile, there's some thieves that kidnap Polly. Cockney thieves. Well, like, what other kind of thieves are there? Anyway, so they kidnap Polly and they lock her up, and they're like, you have to tell us how to get into the house so we can steal shit, or else. And so they try and steal shit. So of course they steal the necklace, and they're like, you can't do that because the necklace makes your thoughts reality. And that would be a terrible problem if somebody as petty as those people got their hands on it, so they have to be stopped. But then the twist is, it turns out that none of this is actually real sci-fi at all. It's just a necklace.
Is it just a necklace? Because he's the doctor. Like, I don't know if they ever made it clear that if the stones were terrestrial or not. But either way, there's no special properties to it. Just the butler had a blowgun and was killing people.
Yeah. So because everyone was dying with like no obvious. A butler did do it. Everyone was dying with no obvious marks, so it was like, oh, this is mysterious. But it turns out, no, it's the butler. He was like just killing everybody with poison darts because he wanted the guy to be able to have a museum. I liked it because it definitely subverted my expectations of a Doctor Who semi-historical story, because everything points to this going to be a story about a weird artifact, and the Doctor and the companions and the guest cast and everybody basically is working under the assumption that this is some kind of alien artifact with some kind of special powers. And it turns out that it's none of that, and it's just a guy with blow darts.
But that's the thing, is when it turns out it's none of that, it's just a guy with blow darts. It's like, okay, the story literally went nowhere.
I don't think so. I mean, everything still happened. It's the explanation.
There was a lot of setup before we even get to the necklace.
Yeah.
So the necklace doesn't feel like an immediate development. So then it's like, okay, now we're talking about this necklace thing, and it's like, oh, well, the necklace isn't even important after all. This is the real plot. And I didn't like the Cockney thieves. They felt unnecessary. It felt like we would have had I didn't feel like we got enough with the other elements of the plot to make me give a shit.
I'm not really sure how else they would have generated conflict, though. Because without the thieves, like, there's no actual risk, because it's not like Morton is opposed to the Doctor. They're getting along quite well. So I mean, it would be 4 episodes. I
would much rather them not start with killing the adversary in the legal battle, and maybe we could have another legal episode.
Yeah, well, that could be. But either way, I think it's. I thought it was pretty kind of clever, Clogs, to play with the expectations of a Doctor Who fan who's seen this kind of story 100 times. So I liked that it was kind of an anti-reveal, if that makes any sense. It's the kind of thing that probably works more on a meta level than it does as a narrative thing, but it tickled me. So,
like I said, I thought it was just okay. Like, it
would have been just okay had it not been for the fact that the supposed sci-fi things were not. And I liked some of the other stuff too. Like, I like Jamie kind of having a crush on Morton's daughter, and
but they've done that before.
Yeah, I know, but it's cute when they do it. I'm not saying it's original. I'm just saying I like it. One thing that kind of stuck out to me that I didn't like, though, is that some of the bit parts, and especially the butler and the thieves, are kind of like, I don't know. They're like overdone, the voices, to the point of
They're
almost
cartoon characters.
seeming like cartoon characters are parody, and it's like a little bit too much of a muchness.
No, I agree. It's one of the reasons I didn't care for this as much. So next up, we have a short trip with the Fifth Doctor, Turlough, Tegan, and Nyssa, called Gardens of the Dead. And it involves the TARDIS landing on like a therapy planet, basically.
Well,
Where
it's like this graveyard planet. It's part of Turlough's very evil plans to kill the Doctor, where he basically forces the TARDIS to land, and they end up on this like graveyard planet with magic dust.
yes, with dust that feeds off your psychic vibrations and replicates the loved ones that you lost, so you can get closure, I guess.
Yeah, it's not, or just visit. I mean, it's not like a clone, or it's nothing that talks. It's just kind of their image in the sand,
In the dust.
in the
Because
dust.
it's gray. Sand is yellowy tan.
Whatever.
White.
But the sand is evil.
The sand starts, yes, like trying to suffocate people and attack them. Because I mean, this is a short trip. There's not a whole lot going on here. Because it turns out that they carried like an airborne virus on them that infected the sand.
Yeah, because sand is a thing that you can infect.
Well, when it's psychic sand, yes, you can.
Okay.
So they have to. So the planet's going to fix it. The people that run the planet.
Yeah. So I mean, Turlough, when he is attacked by the sand, like tries to, quote unquote, run to the Doctor for help. But he's actually hoping that the sand will attack the Doctor instead. And it'll be a clever way to murder him, and no one will be the wiser.
But I mean, you can see it since Modron Undead. Like, Turlough doesn't want to kill the Doctor. He's being forced to. Like, he's very reluctant about it.
Well, sure, yeah.
Yes, and the Black Guardian's still yelling at him.
Well, yeah. Black Guardian, he doesn't have much of an inside voice.
Oh, the appearance of Turlough makes me like Tegan more.
Really?
Because they don't get along for good. Because she knows she doesn't trust him.
I do enjoy that she is just like immediately suspicious of him, and I think it's important. I think to have at least one of the other regulars be suspicious of Turlough, because you don't want them to come off as like clueless or stupid.
Because I don't think Tegan, like, I mean, we literally have 2 stories in a row where Tegan is immediately suspicious of the new person because it was, Modron and Turlough, and she's turned out to be right both times. But it's not like a thing where she's just suspicious of everyone. Like,
no, but I mean, I think it's like from a writing standpoint, I think it's a good way to put her mouthiness to use in a way that won't make the audience upset with them.
No, and I actually really like that, particularly when we get to Terminus, is their back and forth. I find very entertaining.
Yeah, agreed. So like for Gardens of the Dead, I like it, and I think
it was fine.
I think Mark Strickson makes for a good narrator, and I mean I really like his very very snotty impression of Teague.
Yes.
And he does a pretty good Peter Davison too. So it's it's a good short story concept. There's a lot of continuity links with the Black Guardian TV episodes. I mean, given where it's set, there kind of has to be.
Poor Nyssa.
Poor Nyssa.
She gets amnesia again.
Yeah, well, I mean, she got her head smashed into a gravestone because Turlough's a fucking bull in a china shop. So, but
but doing so, he did technically protect her because the dust was trying to kill her, and he went to save her.
Yeah, and she was kind of starting to realize what was going on, so it's really all for the best for him that he knocks her the fuck out.
Yes, that was like the only like knock against the story. I was like, okay, that like you just didn't have to have Nyssa figure this out. Like we didn't need this.
No. It's like
We didn't need this subplot, but otherwise it's
no,
a great
because like you know by Terminus that she's not onto him, which means that there's no reason to have this here if you're gonna undo it anyway. So, I mean, but aside from that, I thought it got a lot of good use out of Turlough's predicaments and his mentality and his sort of ambiguity as to whether or not he's an ally. And then the one thing that I thought was kind of interesting and weird in an interesting way that is weird was while the Doctor's being attacked, like Tegan sends Turlough into the TARDIS to get water because the dust, if it turns to mud, then it can't kill you. And like he's running through the TARDIS, checking all these rooms, and he finds like in the center of the TARDIS, like this room that opens into like a duplicate of the graveyard garden that's outside. And we never really learn how or why this came to be, but it's kind of a strange, interesting thing.
Yes.
Because the Doctor seems kind of reluctant to go out there, and I think he's kind of guarded about what the sand might show him. So, I mean, I don't know. What I gathered from that is that maybe it's like the Doctor's kind of like private place of not sand.
Meditation, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, we see the swimming pool again. I always like when we see the swimming pool.
Yeah.
So, last up this week, we have our 4-part TV episode, Terminus, which is the dark middle chapter of the Black Guardian Turlough trilogy.
If you want to call it that, sure.
Yes, and it has, and in true Doctor Who fashion, it has really dumb outfits.
Oh man.
So this is a very weird story. Just in like the whole setup is odd. So Turlough is messing with the space-time like control piece in the TARDIS to try to kill the Doctor, and he disconnects it and like destabilizes the TARDIS. So it materializes.
It's like the emergency system. It like homes in on the nearest spaceship, but it's becoming dimensionally unstable. So like elements of the ship outside are like bleeding into it.
Yes, but they're like they're on two. They land on one ship that is docked to a second.
Well, it's more of a space station, but yeah.
Well, no, they're on the ship because then the ship goes to the space station.
Yeah, I know.
When it starts, they're not at Terminus yet.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So they're in this weird ship. It looks like a pirate ship because of all the skulls everywhere, but it's not. It is.
It's a leper ship, basically.
Yeah, we discover at the end of the episode because the second ship is a pirate ship that's come to try to steal cargo.
Are you sure? It looks like fucking Flash Gordon and the Princes of the Universe.
Oh my god, their space suits themselves look okay, but their helmets are giant triangles for some reason.
That they have to turn sideways to take off.
Yes.
And they've got like the David Bowie makeup, and it's like the most 80s thing I've ever seen in my fucking life.
It is the most 80s thing,
and then when they first walked into the scene, I actually said out loud, "Oh my god." I had forgotten like just how 80s it was. It was just painfully 80s.
When they walk in their spacesuits, I literally said that too. I was like, "Oh my god, what the fuck?" Because they're just so ridiculous looking.
I don't
once they take the helmets off, it's not as bad. It's still very 80s, but it's not as bad. But oh my god,
they still look like they should be fighting Ming the Merciless, but. That's okay,
that was
I guess.
40s, Kate.
Well, some fucking Brad Chaotica shit up in here. But I don't like Terminus.
Oh, really?
No, I think it kind of sucks. So I was putting this off.
I don't disagree. I think I liked it more than you did, but I do have some major issues. Like the stakes we'll get to it, but the stakes in this story are way too fucking high for no reason.
For something that is solved as simply and is visually as low scale as it is, it doesn't work.
No. And I don't like the whole like the real setup and the real stakes. Like if that wasn't in there, it still wouldn't be a great story, but it would be better. But
so anyway, it's the ship fucking docks with the Terminus ship station thing. And it's a ship full of lepers, and the lepers are all sent to Terminus, which is in the dead center of the universe, even though there's no such thing. And the lepers all get shipped off there, and allegedly they're there to be cured, but no one ever comes back. So the Doctor teams up with the fucking pirates of the universe, and Nyssa and Turlo, or Tegan and Turlo, hide under the floor like Han Solo, but they get stuck because they're idiots.
Well, it's weird too because the pirates show up and are clear adversaries, and then they're just like, "Well, we should work together because we're in this mysterious circumstance." And then they're allies, and everyone's friends now.
Well, that I didn't have a problem with. It's because I mean, when they were sent to raid the ship, they didn't know what they were getting into.
No,
like,
and
they,
the
they're
pilot
like, oh, this is a luxury liner from a rich part of space, so it's a good target. And then when they realize, oh fuck, I mean, it makes sense to me that they would team up with the only guy who knows what the hell's going on around here.
Yeah. The organization of the leper colony didn't make any sense to me though.
Well, you've got these guys in skeleton armor who are slave labor for a mysterious Terminus company who needs green goo to live and wear their bone suits to protect them from radiation, who take the lepers and give them to a giant dog who takes them into the forbidden zone, allegedly to cure them.
A giant old man dog. It was clearly an old man dog. He had a gray beard and mustache.
Well, anyway, he's allegedly curing them. He's taking them to the danger zone, and they never come back. It's like this whole chain of never coming back. They're like, oh, the people that go to Terminus never come back. And then when you're on Terminus, they're like, oh, the people that go to the danger zone never come back.
Though, and his way of curing them looks like torture.
Yeah, like so
chaining them up. Because, oh no, Nyssa gets sick too.
Yeah, she gets sick and starts stripping for no apparent reason.
Yeah, and she had another new outfit in this story. What
no,
the fuck,
she didn't. Man? It was the same as the one she had last time, but the top was off. She just had the skirt on.
Oh, okay.
Over her shift, and she just like the implication is that she's like got a fever and is hot, so she's taking the skirt off, but they never really say that, so she's just kind of stripping for no apparent reason.
I thought the implication was she was being taken away, so she left the skirt as a sign for the Doctor.
Yeah, well,
the motivations in the story are
too much credit.
Questionable at best.
Yes,
because there's a power struggle with the slave labor.
Yeah, the bone guys, and because one of the bone guys whose name is Boar, which I think is unfortunate and true, went into the danger zone, and he followed the control cables to the engines of Terminus, and apparently one of them's going to blow up, and that's bad because it'll destroy the whole universe, because apparently Terminus is actually a time ship that went through time and created the Big Bang because of a fucking fuel leak.
Yeah,
and then went way far through time to the future. But the dead pilot is like the computer control is still going, and it's gonna like fire the engine. And I guess because if you do that again, it'll make a big ending of the universe, which is retarded.
Yeah, that part was really dumb.
The Big Bang plot element is retarded. I didn't like it when Matt Smith did it. I don't like it here. It's retarded. I don't like it. It's dumb. And I think this is what you were saying, where it's like it's way too high of stakes for such a mundane reason.
And it's barely it's like there's is that the issue, or is the sickness the issue? Because like you don't need both.
Yeah, the sickness kind of gets pushed to the wayside after the Big Bang thing is introduced. Which I still, again, I hate. It's like if you're going to introduce something as cosmic as the fucking creation of the universe, you're not going to have it ascribed to some asshole with a leaky gas tank, like, and then it's saved by pushing a switch.
Yes,
Like,
literally pushing a switch that
like,
only the old man dog can do.
Well, because it's a very heavy switch, I guess. Because they're like, you need the strength of a giant. So I guess the pilot was like a space jockey or something, but
And then
yeah,
the old man dog was being had like a controlled chip in his brain, but the doctor breaks the control, so he's free.
yes, and I guess his cure of heavily irradiating people does work, but sometimes kills people instead. So Nyssa decides to team up.
Well, because he can't implement proper controls because they're outside of his instructions.
Right. So Nyssa is like, well, I'll help you out. So she teams up with the Bone Men, the Bone Thugs, and Harmony to fucking create a better cure and also develop an endless supply of the green goo they need so they don't have to listen to the company anymore. So she decides to stay behind on Terminus to work on, medical stuff because she's a caring person.
And then one of the bad guys listens to reason and takes over from the other bad guy because they made a bet where if he went into the Forbidden Zone and came back, he would have the job of leader because that's a thing you do apparently.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, hasn't your boss told you to like run into traffic, and if you come back, you could be the boss?
How do you think I got where I am today, Case?
Murder on your knees.
So, yeah, the story's fucking weird, and Nyssa kept taking like, why is Nyssa like barely wearing anything?
Because she was hot. And a lot of people on the internet also have a good laugh at the doctor finding the skirt. And he's like, oh, there's blood on it. And everyone's like, haha, period. So now I can't watch that scene without thinking of that, even though there's no reason to actually think that's what it is. But
oh my god. Really? It was like that doesn't even make sense because she's wearing white.
No, it's not.
I know, she's wearing white.
She says it's not really ever explained, but she does say in one scene that she cut her thumb. So I guess that's where it's from.
Really, there's a scene when she wakes up in like the recovery room, and it's like, why is the camera looking up her pants?
I wasn't busy looking up her pants. The thing is like she's wearing her shift like or her gown, so it's like she's clearly not wearing a bra, and her tits are very, very nearly coming out.
Yes. It's peculiar. But so Nyssa leaves in a dumb way. I feel bad. I like Nyssa. It's
not a dumb set of circumstances that she leaves. Given her background in biochemistry, given how compassionate she is, it makes sense that this is the kind of situation that would make her say, I need to stay here and see this through. Problem is that it's executed very poorly because it's in a story that's jam-packed with so much shit that it doesn't make sense and none of it's interesting. And the other thing, too, is that because she's sick, Nyssa's really kind of sidelined for a lot of the story. And so are Tegan and Turlo, honestly, because they're stuck on the floor for like half the story. It's really the Doctor and the Queen of the fucking Reich that get everything done. And it's really too bad that Nyssa is just kind of reduced to stripping and flopping around on the floor for most of her last story.
Yes.
Not to mention, you could have infected Turlo, you could have infected Tegan, you could have infected the Doctor, you could have infected the Queen of the Reich, you could have done you know, any other character but Nyssa, and then, you know, it would have given her a good chance to actually, you know, think about the disease and like develop a cure, or, you know, theorize about it and be smart and all the things that we like Nyssa to do. But it's just,
yeah. Well, and then the story ends with the Black Guardian screaming at Turlo to kill the Doctor who just came back into the TARDIS.
oh yeah, because the Black Guardian's mad at Turlo and like knocked him the fuck out for some reason, and was like, "I'll do that and worse to you, boy. I'll give you something to cry about." It's kind of like Malfoy, supposed to be killing Dumbledore, but can't do it.
Nope.
So Terminus, yeah, like I said, it's an overly busy plot line. There's a lot of different elements. There's the radiation thing, there's the Big Bang thing, there's the dog guy, there's the disease, there's the TARDIS dimensional instability, there's the Black Guardian. Like, it's just so much shit. And like Modern Undead was kind of the same way, but for whatever reason, I felt like they pulled it off better here. This is like crammed with a whole bunch of unrelated things. And
I
like,
want to talk about the dog guy again.
it's just not interesting.
I totally agree with you. When I first saw that dog guy, I was like, is that a really good-looking dog suit or a bad-looking dog creature? And it took me like an episode and a half to figure out, okay, that is supposed to be a monster, not someone in a suit.
I kind of liked it.
I liked it too, but it's not a great looking creature, but it's a cool looking design. It's an old man dog with glowing red eyes.
It reminded me of the Warriors of Virtue, if anybody remembers that fucking movie.
Oh my god, Kate.
The kangaroo men.
Yes.
But I find that, yeah, basically a lot of the story devolves into characters wandering around hallways, not doing much of anything. And which is a shame, because I think that like part one starts very strongly. You got a lot of character stuff in the TARDIS. You have Tegan and Turlo bickering with each other. You have him, Turlo, saboteur. You have like the TARDIS stuff breaking down, wandering around the station before you know what it is. It's all very atmospheric. It's cool. Part one is a strong opener, and then it all goes straight to hell. Garbage.
This episode also suffers from a bit of wonky sci-fi, just with like the switch that's too heavy to press and shit. Like,
well, it's a very large
computer countdown.
It's a very large red switch, you know, so they don't want just anybody pressing it, I guess. It's like how Tegan and Turlo are still trapped on the space liner, and like it's about to take off and leave, so Tegan like screams at the computer to stop. It works,
and it stops. Yeah,
and it stops for once. Something listened to her. Yeah, it's just after part one, it doesn't really work. And one of the cool things is on the DVD they have some additional CG effects for when the TARDIS dimensional things are being unstable, and some nice.
Oh, instead of just the like blurry footage that chases.
Yeah. They did like a CG TARDIS hallway with like parts of the ship bleeding into it, and the roundels are sort of like dripping and morphing, and they did a really good job with it. It looks like cheap CG, but it's still better than what you had originally.
Cool.
And yeah, it's just the characters in this story spend way too much time not doing anything, and I think like Turlo and Tegan are Exhibit A, where they're literally 2 episodes trapped in the floor because they can't lift a grate. Like, yes. It's awful, which is too bad, because like I said, I like their interactions together at the beginning, and I also like the conversation they have midway through where Turlo asks Tegan, like, if you had to kill somebody, could you do that?
I like Turlo so far, and I've already expressed that I like Tegan now, so I wish they had more to do.
Yeah, and I mean that's the other thing too, is like for being the middle part of a trilogy, like the Black Guardian Turlo plot doesn't really go anywhere in this story. Like,
no,
there's not much development to it. I mean, there's Turlo having his regrets and his doubts, and the Black Guardian screaming at him, and The doctor.
Well, that was the same thing that happened last week too.
It was the same thing that happened last week, so it's not new territory. And on top of that, at least in that story, the Doctor and Turlough were together for a lot of the runtime, whereas in this one, he's trapped in the floor. The Doctor is hanging out with pirate babes. Yeah. So, frankly, like I said, I don't dislike the circumstances of Nyssa's departure. I think that it was a decent idea, and it's certainly better than like Vicky running off to marry some Trojan guy. But
that's true.
They executed it poorly, and it's stuffed into a story that already has too much shit in it, and so it just kind of doesn't work. And she deserved a lot better than that.
She never comes back, does she?
Well, I'll have to watch and find out. This isn't a ditching Tegan at the airport situation, if that's what you're wondering.
No, I know it's not that.
So next is my gaping butt, because I don't have my fucking notes in front of me. Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm so tired. I wasn't looking forward to revisiting Terminus because I remembered not liking it. So I kind of forgot about it because I was busy playing Dark Forces 2 and screaming at it because it was really pissing me off until I beat the game. And then I was going to go to bed at 2 a.m. And then somebody messaged me on Discord saying, "Hey, what are you up to? You watching Doctor Who?" I'm like, "Oh, fuck, I got to watch Doctor Who." So that was bad because it took me until like 4:30 a.m. to finish the fucking thing. It was awful. Anyway, so next week we will have, I guess, Just Enlightenment, which is the third part of the Black Guardian trilogy, because nothing else has come out from Big Finish.
Good. Does Turlough do any more audios in the future?
Oh, good heavens, yes.
Good.
You know, Big Finish won't have a warm body and not put them in front of a microphone. I mean, who knows? Maybe Turlough will sacrifice himself very nobly at the end of Enlightenment.
No, I know that's not going to happen.
Well, I mean, it's only him and Tegan now for companions. She might kill him. Maybe it's foreshadowing their conversation.
We shall see. Alrighty then, so we'll be back next time with that. Bye, everyone.